living letters that doubt desecrates. We're the notes of the song of the chorus of faith. God shapes every second of our little lives and minds every minute as the universe waits.
First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Michael, and I'll start off by telling you that I am not a magician or a musician. I'm not an artist or an acrobat, and I don't do tricks, and I don't do treats. But hey, there is something I'd like to share with you guys today. I got a poem that I wrote. You know, I don't know how long ago. It was quite a few years ago. And it was kind of a poem that came as a result of observing kind of what I see going on, I guess, in the culture and in the world around us today. And I'd like to share it with you. And I'll start off by saying I do not claim to be a good poet. All right? So, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. It's the end of the world, many hear, many say, then go about with their busy day. Yesterday was fast, today faster. Hey, what took my hamburger so long? You call this fast food? Drive-through restaurants, drive-through banks, drive-through liquor stores, department stores with revolving doors. Yesterday was fast, today faster. Will tomorrow be too fast? We pay for violence and we're entertained by death. Wow, what a good movie that was. Then we question the increase of violent crimes. Oh, how the people love immorality, Sodom and Gomorrah in reality. We close our eyes to true reality, and we choose a happy land sitcom fantasy. Did you know that one seeks to destroy, spreading lies like smooth honey on hot toast? We eat it up and we ask for more. Why are the lies so sweet? The very sweetness is itself a lie. The darkness he spreads is intoxicating. Wake up, my friend, before you fall asleep, forever asleep. Did you know that one seeks to restore, spreading truth like bitter herbs, difficult to taste, harder to swallow? But the bitterness is truth and freedom. Eat it, digest it, live it, love it. He who spreads truth is truth. He is light, love, and light. He is God. His name, Jesus Christ. Now, one of the things that I think about with that poem, when we look at the things that are going on in the world around us, we see that things seem to be becoming more and more unstable. In the political realm, in the social realm, they're getting, I guess you can say, scarier and scarier as we see what's going on. I don't know, I suppose you guys have probably heard that England left the European Union. And as a result of that, there's a lot of instability right now in the market. People aren't sure what's going to happen. How is this going to affect us? You know, these are all questions that we have, but I don't know that we really have the answers for them. But what I would like to share with you is something found in, I guess you could say it was an ancient writing over 2,500 years ago in the book of Daniel. Daniel is an Old Testament prophet. And he has a quote in there that even though it's very brief and very simple, it's actually very profound. And what it says there concerning what is referred to as the last days or the end of time, it says that many will run back and forth and knowledge will increase. And when you think about that very simple statement, and you think about how aptly it applies to us today, you really kind of have to question whether or not the guy who wrote that knew something. When we look at the idea of people running to and fro, back and forth, we're busy with our days. We always have something going on. It seems like we never have any downtime. We're hopping in airplanes, we're going across the country, we're going across the world. All of these things, part of that running to and fro. We seem sometimes to be too busy, even for our family. The people that we're doing this for, we're too busy to spend time with them. And that's really kind of a sad statement of where we're at right now. And that statement also said that knowledge would increase. Now you think about that, that statement was 2,500 years ago, and it said that knowledge would increase. When you look at, from the time that he wrote that till, you know, maybe the 1800s, we really were not traveling any faster than what we could go on a horse. And now all of a sudden, we're in airplanes, we're in outer space, And this guy said knowledge would increase, and without a doubt we do see that knowledge is increasing. It's increasing at such a rate now they can't even keep up with it. The technology is just really exploding. I don't consider myself an old individual, but when I graduated high school, we never even heard of the internet, and nobody in school had a cell phone. You know, and that just goes to show how rapidly things are changing in the world around us. They seem to be going at a pace that's almost hard for us to keep up with. We seem overwhelmed by the things that are going on. But you know, that's exactly what Scripture tells us is going to happen. It says that the love of many will grow cold because lawlessness will abound. And we definitely see a sense of people's love growing cold as we become more and more selfish. You know, one of the things that really surprised me, my wife and I used to live down in Texas, in Dallas, and we lived in an apartment complex, and it was really kind of, I guess, a profound understanding or acknowledgement to me when I realized that we live in a time where we would rather go in our car and drive 3 or 4 miles to the grocery store instead of go across the hallway and borrow some eggs from our neighbor or some milk. You know, it seems like the social structure of our society, of our world, is really changing in such a way that we're having a hard time understanding it. You know, but one of the things that we find in Scripture is we find that it's really kind of given to us a real clear picture of what's going on in the world. Matthew chapter 24 is a chapter where Jesus really dedicates a lot of time to explaining some of the different aspects that we could expect to see as we approach what he refers to as the end of time. He talked about wars and rumors of wars. He talked about pestilence. He talked about famines. You know, one of the things that really amazes me about famines, in the 1900s, we had some of the worst famines in human history. And do you know that those famines were a direct result of human policies that were going on? They were not a result of drought, but they were a result of war, and they were a direct result of the government taking the food from the people. The worst one was in China in the 1950s, and it was a result of the Chinese government taking the food from the citizens. Now, Jesus talked about this 2,000 years ago. He talked about the wars, he talked about the pestilence and the famines and all of that stuff. But there was really something that, to me, is probably the biggest indicator of the time that we're in, and something that really stands out to me in what Jesus said. And what he said was, he talked about the gospel, the good news of Jesus, he said, would go all around the world as a witness, and then the end would come. You know, it's really, I think, worth us taking the time to ask the question, how did Jesus know that the message he was giving was going to spread all around the world? You know, to me, that's a pretty bold statement to make. He said that his words, he said heaven and earth will pass away, but his words will never pass away. And here we are now, 2,000 years later, and we still discuss the words of Jesus. We're still talking about this idea of the gospel. How is it that Jesus knew 2,000 years ago that the message that he was giving was going to have such a large impact? You know, if I decided myself right here and right now to start a new religion, I have no confidence that I could even convince my wife and my kids of a new religion, let alone know that something was going to go around the world. And yet Jesus knew that with full confidence that his message was going to go around the world. Now, needless to say, I don't know where you guys are at in your relationship with Christ. I don't know if you have taken the time to ask yourself the question about the times that we live in, and are they telling us something right now that we need to stop and pay attention to? That maybe we need to slow our busy lives down and start asking ourselves the question, is this all going someplace? Is my life going someplace? Or are we just kind of floating through, not expecting much to happen? You guys, I'd really like to encourage you, take the time and ask that question. Ask yourself that question. Now I have some little booklets here that I would love to share with you guys. It's called The Edge of Time, and it kind of talks a little bit about some of the signs that we see going on right now and what we can expect to happen. I'd like to encourage you guys to take this little book and take the time to read it. And if you're not interested in that, take the time to pull out the Bible and ask yourself the question, is there something in here that God is trying to communicate to me? And if so, what does my response need to be? Hey, you guys, God bless you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and hope you guys all arrive safely at home tonight. God bless you. Thank you very much.
To tear off the mask, see the art of your face, and open your earlids to hear the sweet song of each moment that passes, and pray to prolong your time in the ball of the dance of your days, your canvas of colors, of moments ablaze, with all that is holy, with the joy and the strife, with the rhythm and